Ready for State of Play? Stephanie Hansen of the law firm of Young, Conaway, Stargett and Taylor is here. And Jan Ting, NewsWorks contributor and professor at the Beasley School of Law at Temple University, is here as well. Welcome. Charlie Copeland is away, but when he returns, there's word that he'll head up the Republican Party in Delaware. Is he a good choice? And I want to start with you, Stephanie, since I always have you two on set together.
I think he is. I think I'm going to be very curious to see how he plays in Kent and Sussex, because he's not a Dan Gaffney, Bill Colley Republican, and that's sort of kind of the public face of the Republican Party, at least publicly in Kent and Sussex. But I think if the Republican Party is going to get themselves together and really become a force once again in the state, this is an opportunity for them to do that. So let's see if they pick up the gauntlet.
What about you, Jan?
Charlie Copeland was my state senator throughout his tenure in the state Senate, and I think he's a terrific person to, I mean, it's wonderful for Delaware Republicans that he's willing to take on what is often a thankless task, being the leader of a state party. But Charlie Copeland, because he served in the legislature, he knows the lay of the land politically. He knows all the players, including the people down in Sussex County and Kent County, and he gets along with everyone. I think people like him. He's a likable person, and he understands political dynamics, and he understands the importance of fundraising, and he knows how to raise money, which is critical to the recovery of the Republican Party. They have to find some money to support candidates so that they can get back into contention.
You know, before Delaware GOP chairman John Sigler resigned, Charlie Copeland gave one of his strongest critiques against the Markell administration on State of Play. So do you think Delaware Republicans look for ways to knock work being done by the governor as a way to sort of advance their agenda?
Oh yeah, I mean that's that's the first thing that they're going to do. Yeah. But this is really going to come down to, I think that he'll play well with the Republicans in Newcastle County, but really go back down to Kent and Sussex. There's a huge big block of them there, and it's going to be whether or not those folks are going to, how happy they really have been with the outcome of the 2010 election, because that's when everything changed. You know, at that point they voted out Mike Castle. They were Chris O'Donnell's group. You know, Chris Coons is in. Now we have Chris Coons in the spot. We have probably the most liberal General Assembly we have had in a long time, particularly on social issues. So it's really going to come down to the folks in Kent and Sussex going, how well did that work for us?
Yeah.
And are we going to kind of set aside the more judgmental, kind of intolerance sort of thing that they've got going on down there? I mean, I hate to say it because I'm from Sussex, but if you want to get a real good, clear vision of the difference in culture, just listen to WGMD on the morning talk show. That's WGMG 93.7 down in Sussex County, and it's a talk show, and it will give you a clear picture of the cultural divide between Kent, Sussex, and Newcastle. The trick is for Charlie to be able to get enough of those folks to, you know, come around and become a real force again in the Republican Party.
Yeah, what do you think he should do?
Yeah, I agree. Charlie's going to have to finesse that very deep cultural divide, but I think he's the right person to do it. So.
Well, let's look over some other topics. Barley Mills, that whole thing was a big mess, to say the least. But in the end, County Executive Tom Gordon looked like the hero for backing those opposed to it. Do you think he played that hero role, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think he did. I think that he did something that no one probably thought he would be able to do. Now the question, though, is going to be what's actually built, because now we're back to the drawing board, and the whole idea was that, you know, this was a compromise plan that was going to be built at Barley Mill, as opposed to this much larger development that was on the table. So, you know, we may look back 2 years from now and go, well, if the case had been decided a different way, we'd have something better there built than what is built there today. So I think we're going to have to look back in a couple of years and see what was the actual outcome. He may have won the battle but lost the war.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, apropos of our previous topic, every political party and every candidate is looking for issues that they can organize voters around. I mean, that's not unusual at all. And Tom Gordon identified this Barley Mill project as an issue that he wanted to organize voters around. And I think the lesson here is that elections really matter. And people kind of minimize the importance of our local elections, but who is county executive really matters. Who is on county council really matters. I think Tom Gordon spotted an issue that would work for him, and it did, and it makes a difference. We're going to have an entirely different project now.
Well, moving on to another topic, tax hikes. Is that a good thing? Word out of Dover that some fees may be going up, but only due to road projects, just so that, you know, we could have better roads here in Delaware. Sounds like a good idea, but in the end, it's a tax hike.
Nobody's a big fan of tax increases, but everyone's a big fan of government spending that will improve highways and waterways and promote tourism in the state of Delaware. Everyone's in favor of that. And so how you strike that balance is always a problem. We're very late in the session now, so it's going to be a heavy lift, I think, to find revenues, but it can be done. I would just observe that the gas tax in Delaware hasn't been increased in about 18 years, since about 1995. Mm-hmm. So, and as a percentage of the rising price of gasoline, it's actually gone down. Mm-hmm. So that's a real target there. But given that it's so late in the session, it's absolutely not going to happen unless there's bipartisan agreement on it. There's got to be some Republicans that come on board. Otherwise, it really is too heavy a lift.
So I guess the Democrats, hopefully they'll have luck turning it and spinning it as a positive. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie and Jan.